14,000 years before the wheel or the plow, humans buried a dog beside them, not as livestock or tool, but as kin. Long before we farmed our first crops, this alliance changed everything. With canine senses and loyalty fused to human ambition, hunting became easier, camps grew safer, and our rituals gained new meaning. Did dogs civilize us, turning scattered families of foragers into the seeds of complex societies? The story begins not in myth, but in the ground, where bones and DNA whisper of a partnership so radical it may have shaped the trajectory of our entire species. But how and why did this happen before civilization itself had a name? In a shallow grave near Bonn, Germany, two humans lie side by side. Between them, the bones of a dog, small, battered, and ancient. Radiocarbon dating places this burial at 14,200 years before present, centuries before the first fields were sown. Red ochre stains the soil, mingling with antler tools and carved bone. The dog's skeleton tells a quiet story. Jawbones pitted by disease, teeth worn down to the root, signs of canine distemper that should have ended its life in weeks. Yet this animal survived for months, nursed through fever and hunger. Someone fed it soft food, kept it warm, cared enough to see it through the worst. This is not the only grave where dogs and humans rest together. Far to the south, in the Levant, a Natufian woman is buried with her hand curled around the ribs of a puppy. The grave is dusted with pollen from wildflowers, a sign of ritual care. At Ain Malaha, the puppy is so young its milk teeth have barely erupted. Archaeologists find no evidence of butchery, only deliberate placement beside the dead. In nearby Hayonim, infants are laid to rest with dogs, surrounded by stone tools and beads. Across continents, these burials reveal more than companionship. They hint at a new kind of relationship, one where dogs are mourned, honoured, and symbolically included in the passage between worlds. Grave goods, careful positioning, and pollen traces suggest that early humans saw dogs as more than helpers. They were kin, woven into the fabric of memory and loss. The earliest alliance between species was not just practical, it was emotional, and perhaps even spiritual. On the frozen tundra of Zhokhov Island, Siberia, ancient hunters harnessed a new kind of power. Skeletal remains, dated to around 9,500 years ago, reveal dogs bred not just for companionship, but for speed and endurance. Their teeth show the wear of biting at harnesses, and antler sled runners lie beside carved toggles, evidence of the world's first dog-powered transport. Some of these dogs were large and muscular, built to pull heavy loads across ice. Others were smaller, perhaps chosen for their obedience or agility, acting as lead dogs or helpers. Sled technology allowed people to travel farther, carry more, and survive in places that would have been unreachable on foot. But the story of our alliance stretches deeper still. In the caves of Goyet, Belgium, skulls with shortened snouts and crowded teeth date back almost 31,000 years. Some scientists see the beginnings of domestication in these bones. A proto-dog, distinct from wolves, living on the edge of human camps. Others argue these are simply wolves with unusual features, not true dogs at all. Ancient DNA muddies the picture, with no clear genetic line connecting Goyet canids to modern dogs. The debate continues in journals and laboratories as experts weigh the shape of a jaw or the curve of a skull against the silent testimony of genes. From Arctic sled teams to the shadowy canids of Paleolithic Europe, the evidence points to a partnership that was anything but simple. Dogs were not just pets or tools, they were collaborators in survival, adapted for different tasks and environments. Each new discovery adds another layer to a story still unfolding, where the line between wolf and dog, wild and tame, remains as blurred as a paw print in melting snow. A Paleolithic hunter kneels at the edge of a clearing, flint-tipped spear balanced in his palm. Beside him, a dog presses its nose to the ground, muscles tense, tail flicking in the cold air. The animal moves ahead, weaving through brush, nostrils flaring with every trace of scent. No human nose can read the forest this way. The dog's sudden stillness signals something close, deer hidden in the shadows. The hunter readies his weapon, eyes fixed on his companion's body language. A silent exchange passes between them. In a burst, the dog charges, flushing prey from cover, driving it toward waiting arms. The kill is swift. Tonight, there will be meat for the whole camp. When the sun sets, the partnership does not end. As embers fade to ash, dogs patrol the edge of darkness, ears pricked for the snap of a twig or the low growl of a rival predator. Their bark is the first alarm, a warning that stirs humans from sleep, hands gripping spears, hearts pounding. Archaeological sites across Eurasia and the Americas show dogs living at the center of human settlements, their bones mingled with those of people and prey. Nocturnal attacks drop, food stores last longer, and the camp becomes a safer place to raise children. The energy spent feeding dogs is paid back in vigilance, shared warmth, and the promise of another day's hunt. In the wild uncertainty of the Pleistocene, this alliance is not a luxury. It is a survival toolkit, forged in the chase and kept alive by the fire. A newborn puppy lifts its head, eyes still sealed, nose twitching for the scent of a warm hand. In the soft dust of an ancient camp, a human crouches nearby, offering a scrap of chewed meat. The pup's body is weak. Illness or injury would have ended its life in the wild. Instead, it survives. Archaeological bones show the healed fractures, worn teeth, and signs of chronic disease, injuries that would have been fatal without help. Someone carried these animals, fed them by hand, kept them safe from hunger and cold. Modern science uncovers a hidden current running through these ancient acts of care. When a person and a dog lock eyes, both bodies release oxytocin, a hormone that shapes trust, affection, and the urge to nurture. Researchers in Japan measured this effect. The longer a dog gazes at its human, the higher the oxytocin spike in both. Wolves, even when hand-raised, do not trigger this response. Only dogs have learned to unlock the same chemistry that bonds mother to child. This feedback loop, gaze, hormone, affection, may have deep roots. Each act of nursing a sick puppy or cradling a dog in burial strengthened the tie between species. Over generations, the alliance became self-reinforcing. Puppies raised by humans grew into adults who sought human eyes, and humans, in turn, felt a surge of care. The bond was not just practical, it was biological, emotional, and perhaps inevitable. During the last ice age, survival was an ongoing calculation. Winter stretched for months, prey herds thinned, and the land offered little shelter from biting winds. Camps had to move often, following the slow migration of animals across a frozen steppe. Each day brought new risks: starvation, predators, rival bands. In this world, every advantage counted. Dogs became a kind of living alarm system, their senses tuned to scents and sounds beyond human reach. Together, humans and dogs formed a portable network. Eyes, ears, and noses spread across the landscape. When food was scarce and danger constant, this alliance meant the difference between hunger and a full belly, between safety and disaster. 10,000 years ago, on the floodplains of Illinois, people buried their dogs at the Costa site, sometimes with shell beads or antler, sometimes alone. Isotope analysis shows these dogs ate the same game and grains as their human families. Across the sea, at Skateholm in southern Sweden, graves from 7,000 years ago pair dogs with humans and ritual goods: red ochre, carved antler, even shell jewelry. Some dogs rest at the feet of the dead, others are laid in their own graves, treated like people. As farming and fishing spread, dogs diversified: herders, guards, companions, each role shaped by the needs of a changing world. Today, the ancient partnership lives on in every working dog. Police Canine units chase suspects through city streets, reading human gestures as easily as a paleolithic hunter. Therapy dogs rest their heads on hospital beds, soothing nerves with a single glance. In both cases, a silent exchange passes between species, oxytocin rising, trust deepening. The same feedback loop that once kept a puppy alive in a winter camp now shapes modern lives. Scientists trace these behaviors back through millennia, finding the roots of service and companionship in the bones of ancient camps. The alliance continues, unbroken. Archaeological evidence shows that humans and dogs have shared graves for at least 14,000 years, as seen at Bonn-Oberkassel and Ain Malaha. Genetic studies confirm the dog-wolf split began between 20,000 and 16,000 years ago, long before the rise of agriculture or the wheel. Across Europe, the Levant and Siberia, dogs transformed survival, improving hunting success, increasing group safety, and forging the first known emotional bonds between species. Yet, despite over a century of research, scientists still debate exactly when and where this partnership began. Some early sites like Goyet challenge our definitions of dog, leaving parts of this story unresolved. Today, the legacy persists from ancient sled teams to modern canine units and therapy dogs. What is clear, the human-dog alliance changed both species, shaping societies and daily life in ways no other animal relationship has. The evidence shows civilization was never just a human achievement. It was, from the start, a shared journey.